Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talking Tech with Creative Podcasts. My name is Stella Oni. I'm quite excited about my guest tonight. Yes, I always say the night because I record in the night in the UK. It might be daytime for you elsewhere. So I'm quite excited about my guest and really ready to dive into a discussion. So my guest is Hamid Ibrahim of Iwaju animation series. And if you don't know Iwaju animation series, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and I'll tell you why I'm quite excited about it. Iwaju is a Disney series that's produced by Disney. I'm going to say a few things, and if I'm wrong, Hamid is going to correct me anyway. It's a series set in Lagos. It's an authentic Afro-futuristic story set in a futuristic version of Lagos, Nigeria. Now, I grew up in Lagos and I write crime fiction. And my crime fiction is set both in Lagos and in the UK. I go between the UK and Lagos. And then I've got a series which has short stories that is set in Lagos with a detective. I'm not flogging this, but this actually came out today. I've got a short story in here, my Lara's Detective Agency series set in Lagos, which is all short stories but which I love. Lara and her sidekick, Edith, and Moses, her security. In this short story, Gothic, this is a Gothic, I've never written Gothic before. This is a Gothic anthology, a collection of short stories by award-winning writers. So my Lara's Detective Agency series set in Lagos explores different aspects of Lagos. Food, fashion, technology, different things. I use Lara to explore Lagos in a very interesting way. And this one, I actually set it in Badagry. And I'll tell you why. Badagry is actually a coastal town in Lagos where transatlantic slavery took place. I decided I wanted to explore history, but in a kind of way, because it was only 1,000 words, so I could not go deep into this history. I wanted to go under and see how I could hint at what had happened in the past, how I could create an eccentric setting. So I created a castle on a cliff in Bada with a lagoon on one side, sea on the other side, and this person that had built this castle, this crumbling castle, a professor, an architect, had disappeared 10 years before. That's the premise of the story. And I wrote it and I loved writing it. I was able to, I don't know how, maybe it's winter in London, and I was able to set the scene. I loved it. For me, I want to explore the things that fascinated me when I was growing up in Lagos, in Nigeria. So my stories always go back to food, street food, things in Lagos. So when I heard about Iwaju, this Disney series, animation series, and the fact that I was set in Lagos, a futuristic Lagos, I was quite excited. But I'll tell you something, what excited me the most was my young relative, who was only 7 years old at the time, watched so many times that she still watches it. I'll tell you something, it's not just her watching it, it's a fact, it's the expression on her face when she sees Tola, the young lead character in Waju, who looked like her. Nothing to beat that in animation. Who looked like her, who was so smart, everything. You can't beat that. So Iwaju brought an animation of underrepresented characters onto the mainstream, onto a platform like Disney, huge platform that could show this. And young Black girls, young Black children, and young children of underrepresented background were able to see themselves represented. You can't beat that. So it's one of the reasons that when I knew I could speak to Hamid Ibrahim, I was just too excited because I wanted to ask him all the questions, and we're going to be answering a lot of questions this evening. Another thing that fascinated me as well was, and Hamid will still let me know because production designer for Iwaju, I love visual things. I feast on visual things. It drives me crazy. Iwaju's visual, it was beautiful, cinematic, the technology, everything worked. So that's another thing. So Hamid, welcome to
Yes,
Talking Tech with Creative Podcast. I'm so happy to have you. And before we talk about the Iwaju, I want you to tell us about yourself, about what was your starting point before you even ever came to this, and then we'll talk about the series.
excellent. I'll say before I go on that one, I know you told me to give you the corrections when I see some. There's just two main ones. The
Okay.
first one was the series is a collaboration between Kugali and Disney. And it's the first one, actually, it's the only one they've ever done in their 100-year history. The way you know this is when you look on top of the Iwaju logo, there's
Mhm.
both the word Kugali and Disney. That
Yes.
doesn't exist for any other entity unless they own the entity. So it's like a groundbreaking thing from that side. So
Collaboration.
produced by both of us.
Mm.
And then in terms of my role, it was not only the production designer, also creator of the show. So
Ah,
creator and production designer on that side.
fantastic.
But
Fantastic.
yeah, so small corrections there. But you did very well. Yeah, I think you captured the whole gist of it. In terms of my history, I was born in Uganda.
Mhm.
Then I used to say I traveled to Kenya, but I was 1 year old. I was moved to Kenya for like from 1 year old to 9, then back to Uganda. Then I've been living in the UK for the last just over 10 years now, but
Mhm.
I do travel a lot back to Uganda and all over the continent. How my career ended up here, I've had a varied career, which is very interesting for somebody my age. I often say I'm an old man. Tolu says it's because I've lived multiple lifetimes. So my first career would have been a portrait artist. And I used to do that a little bit,
Mm.
was doing very well with it, was doing reasonably, like for a portrait artist standard, it was successful, especially for when the time I was in there, I was still a student. And
Mhm.
then the next one, technically from there, was I worked on in advertising. I was creating animations. So if anybody's a League of Legends fan, I worked on some animations for League of Legends,
Mhm.
animation for VFX.
Mhm.
For there was a Jaguar, like an electric Jaguar that was being launched, not the new one, that was like
Mhm.
way back.
Mhm.
I worked on those. Then from there, I was working in Hollywood as a VFX artist. And I
Mm.
worked on 5 projects when I was there. The
Mhm.
biggest ones and the one I talk about the most is The Lion King, just because the
Oh.
original Lion King really inspired me. So working on the remake was a big deal. I worked on Dumbo, Dr. Dolittle, Darkest Minds, and The
Mhm.
Predator. And I quit that. And I
Mhm.
quit that to start Kugali because my goal was I was not happy with the quality of the stories from the continent. And there
Mm.
were some very poignant ways I would see that. For example, if you went online and you Googled African VFX, something like African Spider-Man would come up or something like that. It was funny for the wrong reasons, right? Like so you're laughing at the thing versus with the thing, right? It is
Mhm.
very entertaining, but for the
Mhm.
wrong reasons. I didn't want that to be the image people thought about when they thought about African creativity. And that was really the driving force to make me go, okay, let me like really put on the gas on Kugali. So I went
Mhm.
full time Kugali. Kugali, we said we had a few things we did, which have been very successful. We
Mhm.
launched the first ever Pan African comic book anthology that went like semi
Mhm.
viral. We launched it on Kickstarter. But we're
Mhm.
planning to raise 10,000 for the month, end up raising 25,000, and that's what got us in a lot of people's eyes. Went on BC for the first time, and the
Mhm.
famous lines were said in BBC.
Mhm.
We done a few things in augmented reality. We were definitely the first African official Snapchat creator when it comes to augmented reality with Snapchat. Worked on a few very interesting things. I think we worked with something with Snapchat for Black History Month. I think our augmented reality experiences have definitely been used. I don't know if it's over 150 million times, but definitely over 100 million times they have been used. That's on the augmented reality side of things. But it's one of the things where, as I say, it's a very varied thing. We've
Mhm.
had exhibitions in Germany and other places. It's been a very varied thing. Waju is just one of those things where it's so big and it's so
Mhm.
iconic and
It's
it
so
just fits a culture in a very specific way. Why it's not just within the fan base. So we have people who are comic book fans I don't know about Iwaju. We have people who are augmented reality fans and don't know about Iwaju as well. But the
Mhm.
comic book fans, most of them don't know about the augmented reality, and the augmented reality fans will not know about the comic books because
Yeah.
very different worlds. They may even think it's two different companies, which is very weird, right?
Mhm.
So that's how we ended up with that path. So it's a very weird, varied, extensive path. And
Mhm.
everything I've mentioned career-wise happened in a span from 2017 to now. So it's a
Mhm.
very short time frame for a lot of things to happen. Yeah.
Wow. So, two things. I want to ask about VFX. Can you tell us what VFX is, please?
VFX would be what most people would call CGI, but it's very varied, right?
Okay,
So when you watch, I don't know, like Avengers and Hulk, he's a
yeah.
completely virtual character. So in The Lion King, for example, everything in the Lion King remake is made by people. Now, my role in that was I was in charge of creating the muscle simulations I did some 3D modeling for it. So if you Google it, you can see it's very technical. You're pretty much building the animal from inside out. You
Oh
build the
my God, I
bones
can
and the
see the way they
muscles and the
move. Yeah,
skin.
everything. Yeah, the movements.
Exactly. So it
Mhm.
feels very real.
Mhm.
So that was a lot of the work I was doing, was very much a lot of creature work, not as many environments, if I'm to call it that, not explosions. It was mostly
Mhm.
creatures. So think the Hulk, Iron Man flying, that would be around what my things would have been. That's a good
Mhm.
way to describe visual effects.
Yeah. Okay. And then when you talk about augmented reality, I had somebody who was in augmented reality before. Can you tell us, just break down? I know you said you've done 150 million times. Can you tell us more about what that is and what it is that was done 150 million times?
Yes. Augmented reality is pretty much you're adding the virtual world to the real world. So most people know virtual reality is easy to explain. Virtual reality, you're taking yourself into a virtual world. Augmented
Mm-hmm.
reality, you're bringing the virtual world into the real world and overlaying it on top of it. Now, there are multiple ways to do augmented reality, but
Mm-hmm.
the one most people don't even consider augmented reality as much would be like what people would call filters. Oh, that's augmenting reality, right? So you
Yeah.
add something on top of somebody. Like our biggest one would have been, so the users was our filters we made in Snapchat. People call filters we made in Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what got up to the 150 million times used.
Oh my God.
So
Okay.
it will be multiple of those. Some for Black History Month. We did one with actually the Mandela family. We did one during the Euros for England players who are not
Mm-hmm.
being recognized. So we made statues to immortalize them, but in the virtual world, you could have the statues up. There's a few articles on that. That one was one of the most beautiful ones I think we did. Quite a few things varied like that. And we also done just some very fun things. Like some of our book covers have augmented reality on them. So if you point on top of the book, you can lift up the book, and it's almost like when you watch Star Wars when something is floating. You can
Mm-hmm.
have that. We have the character there. They appear in some really cool way and they do stuff. And it always gets a very good reaction. So that's the augmented reality things we do. We've tried to do more story-based augmented reality, but one thing we learned is it's one of those things where people love to experience it, but there's no payment structure to make money off
Oh,
quite
yeah.
as much. So we just kept it for more the experience side of things
Mm-hmm.
versus trying to make money off it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm quite interested in your kind of model in terms of the way Kugali Media is, because obviously you've had from 2017 to now, I would say, so that's about what, 8 years. You're very successful in what you do. But as we know in this world, and as we know that it's all segmented, isn't it? There are different aspects to it. So
Mhm.
what is your vision for Kugali? Which direction do you think you're going to be pulled into? And I'm not going to mention the A word yet, the A word. And I don't want to mention that just here because that's another big area that we're going to be looking at. But what direction do you see yourself going at? Because there will be two things. There will be two things going on, monetizing, but at the same time, there will be things that you want to do that you're passionate about doing in terms of representation.
Mhm.
So, what you've done when you did your Kickstarter, when you did Iwaju, you would want to do more like that. But at the same time, you have to make money because you're good at what you do. So how do you see yourself moving forward and what are you going to develop?
Yes, I think those are two separate questions. So, in terms of what we do and then what our plans are,
Yeah.
I'll separate those two. In
Okay.
terms of the monetization structures we do, the easiest way to put it is we deal with intellectual property.
Okay.
If you put it in that way, it's very easy for people in the business world to understand. We're currently in a fundraising round. It's going okay. It's been a bit of a headache, as you'd imagine, but it's going quite well. We're just in a due diligence phase with a lead investor. But that really helped me polish up the language we use to
Mhm.
create a connection between the finance world and the
Mhm.
creative world.
Yeah.
In that, in the finance world, there is literally no model for how the creative world works. And because of that, the solution they have is to just put it into risky investments. In other words, they
Mhm.
don't know, so they will just put it under risky investments because they don't understand it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's counter to what they would believe should happen.
Yeah. It's not solid.
Exactly, right? I don't know why this stage thing is going in and out, but hey,
No
drama.
worries. We're quite happy for you to go in and out. We can see you. Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of monetizing it, it's very easy to monetize IP, and usually it's hard for people to understand it when you talk about something. If you say the word animation or you talk about VFX, people want the ways to monetize that. But if you change it to intellectual property, all of a sudden it's a very wide, varied way to monetize that. And I think if you look at the larger companies, they're experts at doing that. I'll use Disney as an example because you're talking about Disney. Most of Disney's money is coming from the theme parks and merchandise.
So that means something solid in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's because human habits don't conform to logic. We're emotional beings. And we do the things that make us feel comfortable. In other words, you could have the most logical solution, but a dumb solution will be a better solution for most people because people are not completely logical, right? So that's the same way, like most people can think, oh, this thing is better because but if somebody likes that doll, they like that doll. You cannot explain them out of liking that doll. And if somebody hates it, you cannot explain them to liking it. And we just know what people like. So there's certain things which people are happy to pay a lot of money for, and there's certain things people are not happy to pay a lot of money for. And a very easy example is if you look at an ebook, if somebody launches a book as an ebook, they're probably not going to be able to justifiably sell their 300-page book for more than like $10 or £10 as an ebook. But the moment it's a hardcover book with a nice bound cover, even if the cost to change it to that is not as high, they can sell that for up to £50 to £100 all of a sudden. It's just because people attach more value to that. Even downloading apps like a game, it's not just between physical and digital, even digital and digital. If you download a mobile game, you don't want to pay over £5, £10 for it. Even you want it for free.
Yeah.
But when you have a PlayStation and you're going to download a game, £70 is still okay.
You pay anything, yeah.
Exactly. It's because we have the models for those kind of ingrained in our brains, and we're happy to pay for those. So there are very many ways to monetize IP that already exist.
So you just follow what's already there.
Exactly. So we have a few we are attached to. We're trying to do development deals are one. Outright selling IP that you create is another one. Just from this, I'm going to go from the starting end to the end. So from the beginning point, you can sell ideas. The intellectual is a very good idea. Obviously, you have to grow it to a level which is reasonable before you can sell it. You can sell that. You can do deals where you work with somebody who has money. So you come with a story, they come with the money, you both own it. That's pretty much like a lot of the film deals or something like Iwaju, where it's like we came together to collaborate to do it. But obviously, we had no power. They had all the money. So they have more rights to the IP than we do. Yeah. So it will be stuff like that. There are very many ways to monetize IP. And then there's the obvious ways which people know, like merchandise, and then you can build things from there. But one thing people don't think about is there are not many assets that if it's good, with infinite time, it gets better or is still good. Intellectual property is one of those areas. Mickey Mouse was created 100 years ago.
And it's still milking money.
Exactly. As long as you make a good piece of IP, it's forever there and you can take it to every single medium and you can make money from it in any medium. An example I'll give is you can just get a normal bag, that's something, but then it's a big bag with Mickey Mouse and your kid wants that bag and that bag is £10 more. Like you're not convincing them to get the not Mickey Mouse bag. Even if it's like Mickey Mouse, what does Mickey Mouse have anything to do with bags? Like the famous Batman lunch boxes, if we go in kid stuff.
I know.
Exactly.
It's just that sense, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's what you monetize. That's our business model at the moment, is just creating authentic African IP and monetizing it. Because again, when people say, where is the market? I'm like, is your kid buying, like they probably have a Batman or Superman or Spider-Man lunchbox. There's no reason that cannot be an African character.
Yeah. So the question I want to ask, because I gave you all this set of questions, but I never follow my questions, and I think I told you that.
Of course.
So now we talked about, there's a saying, it's not a saying in the writing world, but there's a popular knowledge in the writing world that there are quite a lot of good writers. In fact, there are many good writers. Many writers are successful. And when you look at the successful writers, some are good, very good, the ones that win prizes. Might not be popular, but they're good. And some are not so good, but they're very popular, well read. But I'm not going to name names, but they are earning millions. And the reason this is because of different things, different reasons. And I think one of the reason is, I don't want to use that trite word marketing, because marketing is just too little a word for this. It's amplification of voice, amplification and platform, and something that takes it to the whole world. And the whole
Mm-hmm.
world then gets to want a piece of that. Certain
Mm-hmm.
countries or certain culture or certain, I would say, I don't want to say certain countries, certain culture are well known around the world. They're almost like a brand. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Korea at the moment, K-pop. K-pop is exploded, it's well known around the world, it's making money.
Mm-hmm.
So how? Because like you said, there's nothing wrong with using African characters. How are you going to take it to that level, that point, that where people want it, where you have millions wanting it, where it's not a niche, and where you don't have to wait for somebody like Disney to amplify it, because we're huge, but we're
Mm-hmm.
small segments, even though we
Sure. At the moment, we don't have the numbers in the global eye. That's changing very steadily. Remember, the reason I literally, because I had achieved my dreams already. I was working because I grew up in Uganda. You can imagine growing up in Uganda and then you work on the Lion King remake, and that's a film that inspired you to get into. I already achieved my dreams. I was good.
yeah.
The thing that made me go, let me do this is I
Mm.
wasn't happy with the quality. But the difference between 2017 and now, there's quite a lot of things which are significantly improved from the
Mm.
African continent. And it keeps progressing. Obviously, there's linear progression, which I'm not interested in personally, if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
I rather try and kill the dragons. And that's why you notice it looks like I'm moving quickly, but that's
Mhm.
just because it doesn't, it wouldn't make sense for the sacrifices I made. Because remember, I was already in. I got some job offers I turned down, which is some insane amount of money, right? It's literally a zero on the salary I'm making right now when I'm at Kugali, or even two zeros in some of them, right? In some areas that I turned down. And it wouldn't make sense for me to do the just follow the path, try and walk the ladder a step at a time.
Yeah.
Like I want to get a dragon and ride the dragon. I want to try and tame the dragon and ride it
Exponential,
up.
exponential.
Exactly. That's the only thing that makes sense for myself in the career. Now,
Mhm.
that made me realize that maybe that's the thing that's lacking. It's because there's a view people have of Africa, because
Mhm.
every culture has a way they're viewed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the way Africa is viewed, nobody is thinking, oh, I'm looking for innovation.
Mhm.
Most people are not going to go to Africa. That's not going to be something that's going to come to their minds. Matter of fact, I even posed a question a while back, something that was just haunting me. I was going through the investment run. All this came up during that time because then the dots really connect. Because I have a proven product. I've shown I can do it, and I was
Mhm.
like, why is it still sticky? Like I should be gliding,
You should be
right?
glad. Yes.
Exactly, but it was still sticky. Obviously, you power through it, but it was still sticky. And I realized something. If you're to ask anybody anywhere in the world, try it out, even yourself, maybe in your mind. And you tell them, hey, I'm gonna give $1 million, I'm gonna give it to Africans as an investment. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of hindrance there. And as compared to many other continents and many other general cultures, like groupings, if I'm to put it like that.
Yeah.
But if you switch that question around, I have $1 million to give as charity, Africa goes top on the list. And there are no questions. It's a very telling way to see the view and how people see the continent, right? Now, because of that, that creates a lot of blockades. So there's
Mhm.
that one layer. Then there's also a layer of trust as well. A lot of people are scared of even putting money in Africa. I know you said you're from Nigeria, right? That's one big one is the moment you want to do anything with Nigeria, there's a bit of fear. I don't know if you ever check, because I travel a lot to African countries, and I always check Google to see what it says about their countries. And it's like code red risk. Whoa, I'm like, huh? I'm like, you know what I mean? So now imagine, now I've been there, so I know it's not like that. But if somebody has never been there and that's what they see, and then they open up the TV, they see that as well.
People
It
so scared.
paints the image in their mind. You don't want to put your money there. So there's that thing there. And then the biggest thing Nigeria with Yahoo boys and everything, like
Yeah.
the
No, yeah.
scammers. Nigeria is famous for scammers. And because of that, even right now, we have people who work for us in Nigeria. Like almost every year, we have to change the payment systems because the person we're using to pay people in Nigeria probably stops serving Nigeria. And only the people who are the most expensive ones, like anybody who handles payments for Nigeria, they get questioned.
Oh, wow.
It's not every year, almost every single year, we have to change payment systems. Now we're trying to do this, trying to get that. The money is stuck halfway through. Now, if you think about all of those things, there's not many places in the world facing that level of trouble. There's a lot of little blockades all the way.
So I'm going to segue a little bit. Do you think, I don't know if you're into cryptocurrency, I am. When I say I'm into it, I know a lot about it. I'm in technology world, so I got into do you think cryptocurrency will solve some of those problems?
Yeah, but I promise you to be the same thing. There's no way we can divide the association of sending money to Nigeria and scammers, and also like that platform being used for scams. Like any single platform you think about that is reliable to send money to Nigeria, it is directly associated with scams.
Oh, for God's sake.
Like every single one. It's crazy, right? It's one of those. If not, they're going to stop serving Nigeria soon because they're under that association. So it's just been there. I'm sure you've seen it with crypto. Same thing. Like people think crypto is for criminals.
There's a lot of you think, oh yeah, it'll go from wallet to wallet.
Exactly. So most places can progress. They can get the stories big, and they don't have as many blockades as a lot of African countries do. Now, some African countries have less blockades, like South Africa, and you can see. And obviously, Hollywood dominates the whole world. But if you really rank it through, most other places, I think African films can at least compete with most places in the world right now, just based off the quality of it. There's a few places which are just outliers, and those are usually the difference is money. So like the best example I give is the highest grossing film from the continent. The budget was like, I can't remember, but it was definitely not over 10 million. It was very little. And then in the UK, any film under 10 million is considered a small film fund. Yeah. So therefore, small film fund is like our largest ever film.
Yeah, that's what gets me.
Exactly. So it's that difference there, right? So there's a lot more issues to pull it up from the inside of the continent. Funny enough, that's actually what gives us an advantage because we're from the outside, right? So we know we have that outside relationship, outside validation. Even if you're going inside and outside, we're almost like a bridge between the two, which is very good.
Yes, absolutely. So the question then is, what is the solution? Because it paints
one by one.
Okay.
If you think about it, the way I look at things is if there's difficult problems, it just means when somebody solves it, you're going to be very rich. You solve it, you're going to be rich, or at the very least, you're going to extract a lot of value. It depends. If you want money, you can get the money. If you want something else. So, for example, with Iwaju, like the goal was not to make a lot of money. The goal was to send a very clear message about what African stories can do. That there's no way you can be like, African stories cannot hit or African stories cannot be of good quality or you cannot present it in a good quality. You just show them Iwaju and it just answers it. We got 3 Emmy nominations for it. That's like a stamp. It's like you can't argue after that. Like what are you arguing? So that was the goal. Exactly. That was the goal with Iwaju. Now, that if we didn't have that bridge, I don't think many people who are from the continent and are just based in the continent all the time, don't have the experience this side, could even have the opportunity to create that bridge. Exactly, because if you think about it, actually even logically, when people are building bridges, they don't just go from one side to the other. They often start from both points and it meets in the middle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you are saying that whoever resolves it will become very rich.
You get rich or you get whatever value you want. Like whichever value you're aiming for, you'll get it.
Okay, so
it's an opportunity.
Yeah. In the meantime, what we've not even talked about Iwaju itself, but what are the plans? What are your plans for doing more things like the film? So let's talk about Iwaju and then let's talk about more plans for something like that. Kugali Media collaborated with Disney for the series. Can you tell me about how it all started?
So it started, how the whole film started was very entertaining. I don't know if was it niece or like I think you mentioned somebody was watching it again and again. Yes. So I don't know if they have seen the documentary as well. There's a documentary that's made about us of the making of the Iwaju.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you'll see that the way this thing came about was, again, after the Kickstarter, BBC got a hold of us and were like, oh, we like what these guys are doing. And I said probably the most famous line of African animation is, we're going to kick Disney's ass in Africa. Now, Funny enough, I don't normally talk like that. So when we left, because they filmed us for a whole day and they released a 5-minute thing. So in my
Yeah.
head, I was like, there's no way they're gonna use that. That ended up being the heading, right? Which meant so when I saw it, when you get that flash of sweat,
Yeah.
I had that flash of sweat, but that got the eye of Jen Lee, who is the chief creative officer of Disney. And the good thing is she saw the passion
Okay.
behind the message versus
Mhm.
seeing the words of the message. Because there was a line of thinking that always gets me riled up, which is it's almost like along the side of we can't do it, like
Mhm.
Africans can't do it. And they can't do it. There's only two different possibilities of why we cannot do it. Either we are dumb and unimaginative,
Mhm.
or we have not had the opportunity. That's the only reasons. Either we literally cannot because we are dumb idiots who don't have the ability to do it, or we just have not had the opportunity. Family in the camp of opportunity, and funny enough, Iwaju proves it, right, on that side. So that's what riled me up to say those words. And
Mhm.
obviously, they got a hold, they went to our website, they found a few free comic books, and they reached out to us just to talk.
Just to talk.
Exactly. Now, from the talking, we suggested we pitch them some stories. We pitched them 3 stories. They picked Iwaju, and the rest is history. So that's how that happened. It was from
So
a
when,
call out from a BBC interview.
so when Disney reached out to you, what did you think? Were you cool, or did you think, oh, what are they looking? I'm just curious.
The first thought was, is this a scam? I was like,
Yeah,
because the
I
person
know.
who reached out, because they were finding it hard to get a hold of us. So they reached out via LinkedIn and they created a new LinkedIn profile. And at that time, because at that time we are hot, so we're getting a lot of messages from a lot of people. So
Mhm.
we see this, I'm like, is this real? We're like, let's entertain, let's see if it's real. And then obviously we see the email, we know it's real because using a Disney email. We're like,
Yeah.
cool, must be real. We go through that. The first thing I think is we just called out Disney. Are they coming for us? That's the first thing I'm thinking is this just them just opening up the conversation to be like, what the hell are you guys talking about kicking our asses? That's the first thing I'm thinking is, are they coming for us? Have we made an enemy with this huge conglomerate? That's the first thing I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Second thing I'm thinking is, damn, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
First conversations, I was not quite as, I'm not somebody who's easily starstruck. So it was very cool, it's very businessy. There were a lot of fun, but obviously in the back of my mind, I was always questioning everything, if that makes sense. Like I was on my toes. So I wasn't fully, you know how I'm talking to you right now, I'm fully with you.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
imagine I thought you may be trying something. I may be talking with you, but in my head, I'll be watching your eyes, I'll be seeing if your eyes are darting somewhere. I'll probably
Yeah.
check behind me.
You're
Like,
watching, yeah, just checking it out. Yeah.
exactly. So I was very curious as to what the hell is going on. Because it was hard to believe they were genuine with their
What do
approach.
you want? You are still thinking, what do you want? Yeah.
Exactly, right? So I was very cautious that will probably be the biggest thing that was going in my mind when we were doing that. Obviously, there was excitement when it was Disney as well, because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, there was excitement because I knew we were going to get there. I just didn't know it would be that soon.
That fast.
Exactly. So I knew we were going to be in those conversations, but I thought it was maybe a few years from there.
Yeah.
So it was sooner than we expected,
Yeah.
sooner than I expected. But yeah, carried on. Everybody kept cool. I think none of us three are very much people who like get nervous or completely starstruck. So
Well,
everything was
cool. You guys
stable.
are cool. You are cool.
Exactly. So we kept everything stable and just kept going.
So then you spoke. They chose Iwaju as, yeah, the one that they go through. And then what was the process? How long did it all take? Because I know these things take a while.
Yeah, the conversation started in 2019,
Mhm.
around February.
Not too bad.
The first
Did well.
year, yeah, the whole first year was pretty much contract negotiations, pretty much.
First year
Mainly,
contract negotiation. Anyway, wow.
yeah, because this is the first time they've ever done something like this. So they're making up the contract for it. And obviously, you know how Disney is. The way I talk about it is think of Disney as different layers, like of a house almost.
Yeah.
And the reason, because everybody inside the studio, all the artists and stuff, they're some of the most happy people I've seen in my life. It's one of those things where it's
Happy.
almost hard to, like when you think about cartoon characters, Disney characters,
Yeah.
they do act and sound like that.
Oh my God. Bouncy.
Interestingly, for the first days, I was always thinking, these people are too nice. Maybe there
Too
is,
happy. They are
I'm
too happy.
waiting for it to run now.
Where
Exactly, I
were
was
they
waiting for
based?
it.
Where are they based?
This is in LA. We're dealing with
So,
Disney LA, so the main
so
studio, Burbank.
yeah.
So it was one of the things, the whole time I was always thinking, I'm waiting for the mask to come off, but it wasn't. And I realized the reason they're super happy is it's almost like there was the creatives are in the middle and the lawyers around them are so hardcore that the creatives in the middle don't have to worry about anything. Like the best way
Mhm.
I can describe it is if you made a mistake in the contract that would completely mess you up, I don't think they would let you know. That's your lawyer's job.
Oh my God.
Their interest was strictly Disney.
Oh my God. And they've been at it for years.
Exactly, right? So you could feel the change of energy. Like when you're talking to the lawyers versus when you're talking to the people, completely different energy. They're still nice people, but it's just when you come from basically
Creative.
jolly cartoon characters who
So
are
to the
incredible
hardcore.
creatives to people in suits who are stone
The real,
faced
the real
and
kahunas.
and you can't even trust them completely. Like the Disney people, let's put it like this. With the Disney folk, I feel like if I walked and money was falling out of my pocket, they'll collect it and they'll run after me. The lawyers, no chance. Like I feel they'll even if the money was sticking out, they'll take it out. So not like they'll steal, but
They were
it's just
sharp.
that's the energy you felt.
They were
Like
sharp business.
exactly. So that was if I'm to go like that most thing I saw which was very like telling was if you look at the lawyers, because of how harsh they were and how direct they were and how very to the point with their client is a priority you felt, you could tell that's why everybody in the middle is comfortable because nothing is going through that.
That the filter, the gatekeepers
Exactly. There's nothing getting in.
protecting you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a big corporation, so they and worldly they've been there
Everybody's trying
for
to sue
100.
them. Everybody wants their money.
Yeah,
So they
yes.
have to be like that.
They
Yeah.
know how to protect themselves. Fantastic. So you
Mhm.
guys spent the first years doing the contracts and then
And that's 2019. And then obviously our pre-production, start production. We bring in a company called Cinesite to help with some of the animation as well. We bring them in. And then pretty much it's just chugging along. Obviously, the best way I describe it is because I was the creator of the show, I'm there from the beginning to the end and also controlling what happened.
yeah.
The best way I describe the experience is you're almost at the top of the hill and
Mhm.
there are like 10 boulders, large rocks around you, which are circular, and they all go down the hill at the same time and you want them to end up in a specific bucket.
Yeah.
Now, all of them start diverging, but because it's a round hill, you have to nudge them, and the most important ones, you have to nudge them earlier. And if you don't nudge something early, you know it's going to miss that bucket, and you have to now pick the prioritization of which one's the most important. You have to make sure, and it's a very
So different strands.
scattered, exact, not even fast ride, just in general, you just get used to it. You
Hmm.
just have to know their priorities
Oh
because the
my.
time is going, the time is the time. It's hundreds of people working on it. So if you mispick one thing, it's not
Mhm.
just like me and you and then you change it later, one thing. You mispick one thing, imagine 100 people are going to react to that one thing you
Oh
misspoke.
my God.
And it comes back to you not tomorrow, it comes back to you a week later. And it's people have done a week of work, 100 people have done a week of work.
Oh my God.
Right? Then you have to now decide. So it's a lot of like very tricky things like that. Like it was very interesting. I really enjoyed the experience. I know people think I'm crazy, but I really enjoyed the experience. It was a very good learning experience from that. And then the other big thing, and I mentioned that Lion King, the original Lion King, was the thing that inspired me to love animation.
Yeah.
Marlon West, who is the visual supervisor of Iwaju,
Yeah.
worked on the original Lion King. So now imagine, because you're technically his boss, right? Because you're the
Yeah.
creator of this show, so your opinion matters more than his.
Yeah.
Imagine you're disagreeing with somebody that if they spilled their coffee, you probably will not be in animation.
Oh
They've
my
been working in the field longer than you've been alive.
God, and you've been alive. My God.
And you have to push back on them to make sure you bring
That
out the thing you want to bring out.
yeah.
Exactly, right?
And
So it was very interesting.
it works. It works. Because it's not just the futuristic elements, it's not just the technology, it's not all of that, but it's the story itself. The
Yeah.
story itself was so authentic. Tola was amazing. Like everything just worked. So the question now is there going to be, I went on Reddit. Is there going to be a season two? Is there any plan?
We can neither confirm nor deny that. Now,
Okay.
all I can say is Iwaju was made as a limited series.
Yes, it
So there
was.
was no plans of a series two from the beginning,
Hmm.
but it has done very well. So we
Yeah.
cannot confirm nor deny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one question. Question two. So once the film was made, because that's another, it goes into, I know Disney, because they're huge, we have all
Mm-hmm.
these processes and mechanism.
Yeah.
So how was the marketing compared to what, if you had been Kugali Media that produced all of this and all that, what was the difference between the Disney marketing machine mechanism and what you would have done if it had just been you? What was the
I'd say there are pros and cons to all of them. Obviously, having the money and the access Disney has is a
difference?
big pro. The con is this is the first time they've done this. This is the first African project they've done that's actually properly, authentically African. Like from the tone, the speaking, the place, everything is African.
Everything, yeah.
They're not used to that. So there's a few things in marketing where you could see there was a difference between not even just us, but the general creators of the show, including Jen Lee, the chief creative officer, and what marketing had in mind. You could tell they were trying to guide the marketing to go in a certain way. So that's one thing. Another thing is obviously at that time, if you think about it, Disney was having the best time in terms of the things that launched around that time.
Yeah, a few things. Yeah,
They didn't go as well. So we suffered some of that. So we didn't get as much as a push as I thought we would have gotten. There's a lot of discussions we had earlier, I cannot reveal, of different plans of things that just couldn't happen just because everything they were launching was not doing well. Now, of course, they're not going to expect this thing that they've never done before. If the things they've been doing are not doing as well, I don't think they are betting on this thing they've never done. They have no data on.
Yeah.
So it's that there was that as well that affected them a little bit. So it was big from the outside, but for what it could have been and all the discussions, it could have been bigger if Disney was on the same pace from where we were beginning. So in terms of the company itself and the launches, if the last films I released were all hits, it would have been even bigger. I felt that a bit. Now, I don't know if anything then will just still at the same level. It was okay, but I was expecting a little bit more. Now, in terms of the difference, obviously, because it's actually Disney had, I'll give you context. The 2 days of the launches and premieres, the 3 days of it, sorry, we did over 200 interviews.
That's killing.
Exactly, right? Now, there's no way Kugali is pulling that off.
200, over 200 interviews.
Yes.
Wow.
So if you think about that, the number of like just and all the way through on that, so Kugali is not pulling that off. If I think where Kugali would have won, if we did the marketing the same way we did the creative, I think it would have been a little bit better. But obviously you learn. Now creative, we had more time to work with, so it's easy to massage things and work through things. Marketing was very quick. Like we had a very short time frame to turn everything around. So it's almost like the rocks, but now it's like a shorter hill. So you even have less things, just making sure the most important things go. Yeah, so marketing was a tighter one. So we couldn't really, like Kugali marketing and Disney marketing was not as seamless and as beautiful as Kugali creative and Disney creative.
Yeah.
It was still good. Obviously, you guys got to see it. It was decent and all that. We had the premieres and everything. But there was a bit, if you compare the two, you could notice the difference between the two. But if you had not compared the two, you just say this is brilliant. And also from the outside, given when people would assume a project like this would get, this is brilliant for them as well. Obviously, I just have high expectations for everything. So I would say that could have been done better, but hey, you learn from it.
And to be candid, I think you could say that for the publishing world, because my background is the publishing world. I've not been in film. And the problem that is experienced in the publishing world is understanding because you're doing marketing. If you're doing marketing for something, it's so much easier. But if you're doing marketing for something you don't know, and the context and the culture, so many things to understand, you might not know exactly how you place it in the market. So there's somebody I interviewed in the podcast she does marketing for Black books. That's what she does. So she works with publishers to market Black books. She found a niche for herself because the publishers didn't know how to quite market Black books. And she has film background, and she's got book background. So she's able to amplify Black voices. So when books are coming out, she collaborates with publishers to market Black writers because she's able to have quite a lot of reach in there. So is that disconnect between understanding the culture, understanding who are the audience, maybe Disney might have struggled with who the audience will be, who will be watching this. Do you think?
Not quite. I think they were clear on that. It was more they used data.
Yes, that's it. They don't have anything, no comparisons.
Exactly. There's no data for this.
Yeah.
So you cannot do it the way you normally do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just that. It's not that they were bad people or anything. It's just the way they do it, they follow data, they use data, and there's not enough data on this for them to use.
So you are well placed because of what you've done, this collaboration to do more like this or to do something else. So that takes me to what you think the future will be.
For Kugali, for the industry,
yeah, for Kugali
for
and then
Kugali.
for the industry?
Okay, Kugali, very simple. We are still keeping our thing. We have an acronym which is EIQ. E is growing the entire creative economy. I is innovation. And we like to move quickly. We want those fasts. We can't do the same thing. We can't be normal in an abnormal situation. Like everything with the industry is not regular. I don't know why people think the regular thing will work, personally. So innovation needs to happen. And then Q is quality. We always have to produce high quality intellectual property. So that's pretty much that's same thing, rinse, repeat. There's a lot more to do. Now nobody has come up to me going, there's so many high quality African stories that I've read. I've not had that. So there's a lot more to do from that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, but so is there going to be any kind of partnership other than Disney, anything else?
Sure. We are talking to a few people. There are a few conversations going on here and there. Obviously, industry is shaky right now, if you've noticed.
Oh my God,
Uh,
mommy, yeah.
exactly right. But we are having a lot of conversations here and there, which are going decently well. But obviously, we don't want to count our eggs until they hatch. Even some eggs which hatched, now, to be fair, when the strikes and stuff happened, some eggs that hatched actually disappeared as well. So it's one of those industries in flux, but we're not married to Disney. They are friends of ours. We still talk to them, but we are, again, an intellectual property global house. So we'll work with anybody who is willing to let us tell authentic African stories. We are not married to Disney. We're in the streets with this matter.
So,
So yeah, so we are working on a few things. There are a few things on Disney right now. No, most people are not comic book people, but we have a 7-book deal with Disney Publishing. The
oh,
first 2 books should
fantastic.
be coming out next year. The first 2 comic
Okay,
books should be coming out next year. They're
okay,
pretty much wrapped up. So just gonna launch next year, and then obviously within the next 5 years, we'd have launched all 7 of them.
okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So let me, so what's the, okay, now I'm going to go to AI. Looking at what AI is doing, I come from a tech world, so I kind
Hmm.
of have some understanding of AI from different points of view, different aspects. So me as a creative, me as a tech person and all that. What do you see the role of AI in all of this mix? And I'm talking like ChatGPT. I don't want to get a good quality answer from you, and I'm not giving you a good quality prompt. So, what do you, so I will niche down when you answer your question.
Okay. Uh, I would say I am a fan of AI generally. Again, I'm a technical artist, so again, I do have a different perspective than most regular artists, right? So I like I'm more what's the way? Even the way I create is more technically based than just having a feeling and doing it. I do some which is a feeling. I know you
Yeah,
can see there's that painting there that I did, and
I
there's one
love it.
I'm doing currently.
Oh, so you,
Uh,
yeah, I love that. And
thank you,
it's vibrant. I've been looking
thank
at
you
it.
very
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
There is that. I hardly do that. Most of the time, I'm very direct, very planned with what I'm creating. It's almost like I'm editing. I don't mind AI. And just as a creator, this is my thought on it. I gave a whole speech on this actually in the Black Business Week.
Okay.
And this is my thought. AI at some point will be able to handle all execution.
Yeah, it will.
The thing AI cannot do is give meaning, and it cannot attach that meaning in an imaginative way that is relevant to humans because it's going to be logical with how it does. It's going to try and do it. It will be logical, but there are some things which will stop it. And what I mean by this is we've had examples in real life already. If you played the game FIFA, you can put 2 computers to play and you watch them. For you to watch that versus watching a game, however boring the football game that's happening that's live is, you want to watch people perform, not the computers of you. You're not looking for perfection. You're
Yeah.
looking for human kind of expression. So those things will survive. And the reason those human expressions are there is are things tied to certain cultures, certain meetings, and certain experiences. So those things are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other part which people don't consider, which creatives, is one of the things like, maybe I'm going to put it harshly right now, is creatives are worried about these things creating like a logo or
Mm-hmm.
a JPEG. But if you reverse that equation and you really think about it, if somebody is a computer scientist and wants to make a logo for their app, their result versus somebody who is a creative mind and they both want to make an app, AI can code better than the coder. Writing 20,000 lines of code to create something imaginative. The person who is more creative will create a better app than the person who just made the logo.
Yeah.
So at the net of it, the creators have the advantage for the first time ever. And the
Mhm.
way I look at this is the same way mathematicians were like weird people. They're almost like the same place as artists until computer science came around.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, every single person ruling the world today, every single rich person today, has an arm in something to do with computer science. This is the same happening right now. Every single person who is going to rule the world in the future is going to be people who are very creative and know how to attach meaning to things. That's us who are going to rule. Because all execution is done. Every single thing,
Yeah,
make me this, done. Make me that, done. I want to build a bridge because people don't even consider that. With 3D printing, we have robots coming up. How many years are you giving it? Where it's just going to be like, build me a bridge from here to there
the
in your
robots are
house.
going.
And
The
it comes.
robots
And if you think about it, most people are not going to sit there, let's say your plumbing is broken and AI can fix it. Nobody's sitting there going, I wish a person could do this slower for more money. Nobody's thinking that because that's something that just needs to be done. If your roof needs to get fixed, you just want it done. If you want a house, you just want it done.
Yeah.
The difference comes into the areas where you attach meaning to it, then you literally do not want a robot to do it. And how you're going to be creative and how you can now put together, because it's generally a blank canvas. And no other field is trained to deal with blank canvases. You open ChatGPT, you could get it to do anything in the digital world right now. You get Gemini, wherever, if you have the paid version. I use it a lot. You can get it to do anything. But I was worried at first. Then I realized how people lack imagination. If you look at the top users for AI, like you'll be like, we are fine. Why? I'm not even worried. I'm not even worried a little bit. People lack imagination. There's no way that when I describe to people what I do with AI, they look surprised. Just because they lack imagination, people are just doing the same old stuff they've always done, just slightly faster.
Okay. So give me a hint of when you say the top users of AI. Just give a hint. I'm not saying
In terms of most people in the world, right now,
users.
top users. Yeah, the top
Are you yourself?
Oh, for myself.
Yourself and the top users. I want both.
Okay, I'll go for myself. On my one, the most interesting thing I do is I have at least weekly or bi-weekly meetings with different AIs that created, which have different personalities. And what we do, because AI is very good at collecting information.
Yeah.
Now, it does make errors here and there, so you can double check. The good thing is when you question it on stuff, it tells you where it got the stuff, especially if you have the paid version. And right now, if you attach like that research thing in ChatGPT, it's very good at it gives you all its sources.
It does, yeah.
So that's one thing where I'll probably go, like, for example, I said this week, what thing I'm doing right now, because we're currently doing our creative strategy focus. So I've told it to look at the internet development numbers in Africa by World Bank, look at if any other telecom companies have posted anything, look at the growth of telecom companies, compare it, see if there's any irregularities, and then collect information from different places around the world, like different countries, like Japan, whatever, et cetera, around the world, seeing the interest in Africa, whose interest is going up, whose interest is going down, and does it have anything to do with the internet? And then you collect. If you're to do that by yourself, it's giving you a headache.
Yeah.
By AI to do that is light work. It does that in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And you can create the comparisons, you can create the trends, you put it within a timeline. And the way using AI very well is you want it to almost start glitching. In other words, you tell it, do ABC, and it goes, do you mean the common thing people usually ask me to do? Like it almost revert to the most common thing. Then you have to put it back in track. I don't mean that. You say we've been doing ABC. I want you to do it now, but now for this thing. That's when you're taking it down a route where it's a new thought for it almost. It's not something it's seen out there. Yeah. So that's how I would use AI, stuff like that. And then obviously the easiest one, I'll give you one right now.
Okay.
I have the mentorship program. You know that someone you're recording this. I have the whole transcript, right? Yeah. With AI, I can just pull out everything. I'm currently writing a book. I've told it to pull out everything that would be interesting for me to put into the book. Yeah. Because I have all the sessions recorded. I'm writing a 100-page book. Yeah. Half of those, it's going to be my words, but AI is on which I've pulled them out. Cleaned up the spellings, slapped it in there. All of a sudden, something that would take me, I don't know how long it's taking shorter. For my mentorship program, I built a game. Obviously, I can code, right? It's almost like a monopoly, but helps you navigate the creative economy. Or you're looking at, you pick either easy, medium, or hard. Easy, your kind of builds when you're starting off as a creative is lower. Hard is like what the regular builds are. And then you pick the timeline you're playing in, 2 years, 4 years, or 8 years. Now in Monopoly, you go round, right? That's one round. Every round around the board is 1 quarter. It's longer. There's investments, there's these deals, there's client meetings. And what you do is you buy different skills, you buy different equipment with different talent. And instead of building a hotel, you build like a studio. So first you build into a talent. If you have a skill and equipment, and you also have the software, then you can now become a talent. You can build a talent for that specific thing. Then you can if you have multiple talents, you can turn it into a studio, and then you can grow that, and then you have taxes, you have all of this to worry about, things creatives to think about.
Teaching, but you're using a game to teach.
Exactly. Now, if I was building that normally, I can code, but if I was building that normally, easily, year and a half.
Oh my God, yeah.
It took me like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm not completely finished with it, but I have a working prototype which you can just give somebody right now, and we can play the game together.
Did you use any of those vibe coding kind of
thing? Pretty much. Well, it's really good. Like, you just go through, you know how you comment in your code? I could say you're in tech world, right? You go through your code, instead of coding, I just wrote all the comments of everything I wanted to do. Put it in there and it spit out all the code. The code right now for the game is about 2,000 lines, I would say. So those 2,000 lines are probably handwritten, only like maybe 300, 400 lines of code maximum.
Wow.
The rest is all AI written.
Can you imagine?
And the game works, the mentees enjoyed it. It got them to understand the concepts faster, because if you imagine you're trying to teach somebody about navigating the creative world, it's very hard to get them to understand how things go monthly, yearly, every year. If you raise money, you're not that rich if you really put it in a year scale. It's hard to explain all of those things.
Yeah.
But if you play the game, you're like, oh, I run out of money because I spent too much money here. I couldn't get a deal closed. Maybe I need to think about that next time.
Yeah.
So the value is there. So if you look, that's pretty much how I use it. I'm very much like a AI, like fast, like I'm trying to use it as much as possible. Now, I don't use it for creating, because a lot of things that even in Kugali, we have a policy, right? Where we treat images created by ChatGPT or any AI or like DALI or wherever, right? We treat it the same way we would treat something we find in Google. So if you just download something from Google, it's the same way we treat the AI images. So you can use it for references, you can use it to explain a point. So that way, if there's a writer and he's trying to explain something and the artist is not getting it, you can just use AI to try and do it and be like, it's something like this, versus trying to look for a Google image, which is maybe a bit longer. Yeah, so that's how we use it internally. It's not, none of our final things coming out is AI, because that's one of the things people want us to do. So in other words, everything that people want us to do, we do it. Everything that people don't care about, we use AI.
Yeah. And because AI generation, anybody can generate anything. So, when you're generating your own original idea, it's a different thing entirely. And that's where the value comes from. That's what you're talking about in terms of value, isn't it, in the future?
Exactly.
It's that sense of having, there's a book I'm reading at the moment by a guy called Ethan Mollick called Co-Intelligence. Very interesting.
Okay.
And we talk about AI as a creative. And then he concluded that the people that AI, just as you've explained, is not able to go deep into your context, your experience, all of those things. The things it can automate, it will automate. But that domain knowledge, that deep experience that you have, it cannot replicate it completely.
No, it breaks down.
It can't replicate it completely. And therefore, what he now said was the people who have that deep experience and knowledge, who now use AI as an assistant, are going to be at the forefront of everything, versus the people who are just generating anything from AI and thinking that, oh, that's fine. Because when
it's just noise.
Yeah, which we are generating is just noise. But if you're using what you've got, the skill you've got, and using that as a mechanism to just assist you, then you come to the top of the
Exactly. So I'm actually looking forward to see where we push the general creative industry, because I really think AI is a tool we needed to break outside the box of just entertainment. We can actually break into actually like anything, literally. Like the canvas is now the world. It's not just what was in front of people.
So the question to ask then is, how about the things that are not so good? How do you think we navigate that around AI? Because
Uh,
things that are not so good as well.
I'll give two answers. The
Mhm.
first one is we are lucky we can go back to our countries if everything goes to crap.
The world is a small village.
Exactly.
Can't hide
At
anywhere.
least we have a second place if everything goes absolutely just crazy. We have a second place we can run to. I feel bad for people who don't, like who have a place where it would not. If AI goes rogue right now, like UK, like they cannot survive. Like everything is attached to
So,
electricity in some way. Internet is everywhere.
yeah.
But a lot of places in Africa, less electricity, less internet, they can just turn off one switch and you're fine. If there's load shedding, I know you guys have NEPA. Like already NEPA, half the people have survived already automatically. So that's on the bad side of it. And then just more specific on the things I'm worried about is most creatives don't want to do all of this stuff. They just want to create. And if you look at it right now, if you see something really good, your thought is like, is this AI? Because there's so many things which are AI out there right now. There's so much noise on that. Like it's hard to trust something right away. Whereas before, if you saw something amazing, your first thought is, oh, an amazing person made this. Right now, your first thought is this AI made? And that level of noise, I don't think we have dealt with in the world. And I think it might actually end up killing the entire internet in some weird way, where you go online the same way where I'm sure you have, there's some channels which just report nonsense. Like, and you only go there in a specific time. You're gonna live there not feeling happy, and you know it's gonna be nonsense. That's gonna be there's a chance that could be the entire internet. Like in terms of when you search anything, because you can't search anything, because almost everything's there. I don't know. I was in my speech. In my speech, I got some very interesting data. Right, I can pull it up. I know I have it here somewhere. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Because I think this is very important because it's one of those things where you truly see the scale of the noise, if I'm to call it that.
Yeah.
Almost. WhatsApp changed its thingy, so taking me an extra minute. There we go. So listen to the stats, right? 80% of the data ever in existence were made in the last 24 months. 90% of content by next year, this time, is going to be AI generated. 90% of everything online by this time next year is going to be AI generated. That's just, if you think about what that is, like, it's just feeding itself. That means if one thing is said wrong but believed, before it's like people are hitting it, right now everybody's going to get that as AI is saying that. So the amount of just something wrong spreading like wildfire, because right now something can spread like wildfire with social media, and we think it's crazy.
Yeah.
But AI is even going to be a deeper level of this. That's one. The other one is just generally I'm worried about people who don't have as much self-determination. Because I know at least, okay, I'll go like somebody like me. You can even just look at my career path. I don't follow the path. Even going into arts and so on. I was one of the smart kids in school. I was good at physics, math, and so on. People expect to be the doctor.
Yeah. I'm always
Most
jealous.
people in Africa who are like
I'm
that.
jealous of people like you. People who are good at both. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, but the thing is, if you think about it, most people in the African continent, if your kid is smart at those subjects, people don't expect them to be anywhere near the creative field. If you're a bit slow, you're not the smartest, people are happy with you being in the creative field. You know what I mean? As long as you're doing something. They don't look at it as a waste because you're like, yeah, they are not doing well and all the rest. At least they can do that well.
Yeah.
So I have enough self-development where I walk away from the normal path. But most people who exist don't do that. They cannot do that. They always follow the path. What that means is these big AI companies right now can literally completely control people. Because there's so much data on control. Even right now, like you just go to social media, people complain about social media, but the problem is not social media. The problem is people.
Yeah.
If you open my social media feed, it's beautiful, it's happy, but you can tell it tries. Like it will try to put nonsense in my social media feeds, right? Now, my solution for this is I have one nonsense social media feed where when I feel like I want to watch if it's something interesting that's nonsense, I'll scroll past it quickly and I'll go to the no social media feed. I know it will appear there.
Yeah.
But I don't spend as much time there. So I have a social media feed which is very inspirational. Like I finished scrolling on social media, I feel happy.
Yeah. Me too.
Most people are feeling depressed, anxious when they finish scrolling on
I'm
social
very
media because it curates around what you give it, what you show it, you're doing. But most people are not going to be able to do what I'm doing here. This is just social media. Now imagine AI that knows you better than yourself.
Knows you.
Because the AIs right now, people don't even know how they work. People don't know how they know what they know. For example, I think there was one which was very funny where it could tell between male and female. I think it was like a bone or something. And scientists don't know how.
You can tell between the male and female bones.
Yeah, it was something. It's something to do with anatomy. I think it was bones or a part. I think it was bones, right? You can Google it and find it.
Yeah.
But the people, like nobody can see what it's seeing, and obviously people don't know how it works, so they don't know what it's using to tell. If you think about that, so because it just has so many data points, and it's comparing with so many things.
It will be able to tell because it's multimodal. If you can generate images, it's very easy for you to tell the male and female bones.
I'm saying people can't. Doctors can't.
Oh, the doctors could not, but AI could.
Exactly, and they don't even know.
So the doctors were able to see the bones, but they could not tell whether it was male or female. But
Yes,
AI,
if you get a doctor who doesn't know which bone is male, which bone is female,
yeah,
and you showed it to them, the X-ray, they could not tell.
But the AI can.
But the AI could tell reliably.
It will scan it. It will scan it and compare. It will make comparisons
No,
to millions. It's been fed.
That's what I'm saying. It has so much information
it's
that
been
it
fed.
can pull up instantaneously.
Now,
Now,
with more information than one
every
million,
person
let's say 1 million doctors to 10 doctors. Do you see what I mean?
exactly, right?
Yeah, it's like an
Now
ancient.
think,
You know, when you talk about ancient knowledge,
yes,
what thing has been
everything.
fed with so much knowledge is almost ancient in its. So it can pull up.
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
Exactly, right? Now think about it. That means guaranteed. Right now, your algorithm probably knows you better than you. And this is just a simple algorithm.
Yeah, I'm human.
Now imagine the power of AI knowing you more than you. It will know how to convince you of something.
Yeah.
And you have no chance of stopping that.
Yeah.
That's the bit that scares me now.
The fact
Everything else I can live with is it can target you because it has all the time in the world. It doesn't get tired. When somebody's marketing something to you.
Yeah.
Now, like we have Facebook targeted marketing, it's on. You can tell it, you can escape it, but there's some things you just like.
Yeah.
And then years later, you're like, why did I even buy this? This is stupid.
And OpenAI is having the latest thing now that they're going to be in partnership. They're going to be doing products.
Yep.
Yeah. So
they can literally target you.
Because if
it could even be within a long timeline. It could be even with a year, but they don't care.
Yeah,
They'll
they
just
already
throw
know
in hints and all that. It'll be fine.
Yeah, because
so that's the bit in that. Exactly. So
that's
a scary bit.
If I'm looking for products now, go on ChatGPT and ask some of my habits, like do this comparison. So now OpenAI are in partnership, and people that want to buy a particular product, if they search that product for you, then you can then buy through GPT straight from. At the moment, it does a referral, but it's not getting anything from that referral. Now they're going to get some kickback from that, from you going through them. And you can see that if it's AI, God knows how it's going to control you.
Yeah, so that's a scary bit. But again, there's a bit of hope. It's so expensive to keep these models running. And I think the promise of what the models were to be used for is not coming out on the other end. I think that bubble may explode. Like, because nobody is spending, there's like, how much is OpenAI worth right now? $500 billion almost? Like, nobody is valuing a company at $500 billion, which the main thing is spell check. That's not that good enough, and that's like the main use, right?
There's no big use cases yet, other than the
exactly. There's very specific people, but it's not like a common thing. So in other words, unless they're gonna change the whole business model to be very specific, but even then, the valuation crashes from that amount to something a lot more reasonable. So I think their hope is maybe they create the general intelligence, which will be able to hold people's hands and guide them and everything. But knowing human behavior, I know convenience beats everything, but people hate machines. Now the kids who are coming up may be different. But I'm very much into tech and so on. I had one of the first smartwatches ever, like the Sony one. Serial number on it was like zeros or something. The first ever smartwatch way, like in terms of the type of smartwatch. So I'm into tech. I have the Ray-Ban smart glasses. Like I'm pretty much all into tech.
You're a techie.
Exactly. So I'm all into it. But my friends who are not, like my robot vacuum, my wife didn't want it in the house when I moved out. It's
You
like,
want
what
to
thing?
freak out? You want to freak her out?
That's what I'm saying. He's like, what's this creepy thing, man? I'll just clean it.
Oh
You
my
have
God.
this creepy thing working on, because there's cameras and stuff. But if you think that's most people.
So normal human beings.
Exactly.
And
So there's
and
a very good chance people are just people are gonna say no. And it's nothing like, however logical it makes sense, if we're going ew, icky, done. Like it's not gonna fly. That's it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
just so you think it might still it won't be like wildfire the way people they think it will.
It
Like
could, but it's just costing too much money. And
yeah.
it's about how long people are willing to pour money into it for
Mm,
it to get to that point. And I don't think people are gonna keep pouring that money into it. I
yeah.
feel like that
No,
may dry up. Now,
it
people
is
could
not,
keep pouring money into it. The more
but
money they pour into it, the more it can happen.
they want the return.
Uh, exactly. They're
Yeah.
gonna want their return, as you said. Like at the moment one person is, now this is not working, like that house cracks because it's a digital product.
Yeah.
The value can go to zero easily versus physical products unless you have something.
Yeah.
Digital product literally like value crashes very quick.
Yeah. So I want to just, before I know that we've talked for a long time, but I want to talk about other technology and the ones that were very popular that seem to have like
Disappeared.
started out, but they might still be coming back. So blockchain seems to be niche at the moment. Blockchain
Mm-hmm.
is still around, seems to be niche. I thought that there will be quite a lot of use cases for blockchain because of the way it works, but it seems
Mm-hmm.
to be niche in the sense that, yeah, it's being used, but in specific ways. The
Mm-hmm.
NFT seems to have done a runner. Not much about NFTs now. There was one time it was a rage. Then we have
Mm-hmm.
cryptocurrency, and then I want to talk about the metaverse, Web3. Can you take each one? So let's talk about blockchain.
Yes, I'll do each one. So I'll go with blockchain first. I think it's one of those things where it would be used, but not directly by people. That's the only way for it to become popular. So, like right now, I don't know why UK is not using it, to be fair, because they're doing the whole ID system. That would be like the perfect place to use blockchain, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, yeah.
But it's that thing of, again, the same thing of human beings are creatures of meaning. It's the association between that and scam is too high for
Okay,
people to use it directly.
okay.
So it would have to be a trusted institution using it in a way where it's not people using it directly.
Blockchain, private blockchain.
So something like that. So that would work. Crypto thing. But crypto is going to be harder to convince people because right now I think people have converted to the digital money.
Yeah.
I feel like people are even trying to reverse that to go for cash. It's just a lot of places don't
I
take
thought
cash.
that I hear Trump is all for it.
Yeah, but I'm saying in general. I'll give you an example. Like I have this phone as well for my weekend phone.
Oh,
All
that's
right?
nice. So you
Yeah.
don't want no smartphone.
In the weekend, no, I don't want to be disturbed. Only people have this number.
Yeah.
Just to give me, and it's a common thing, people
So fine.
wanting
Yeah.
space away from all the nonsense. It's become the more online gets noisy, as I told you, 80% has been made in the last
Switch off.
24
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise. The noisier it gets, the less satisfactory it is because it's noise.
Mhm.
Like hardly any. You have to really, like, if we really think about it, for something to justify how people feel bad after they watch it from multiple social medias, they have to find a really good video. It's like gambling.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's usually a live gambling which people are doing nonstop. They're not happy with it, but if they find something good, they're happy about that good
You
thing.
just sit down.
But even that doesn't last.
Okay.
That's like maybe 10 seconds of happiness.
And then that's it. They're gone. So
So people are
metaverse.
trying to find ways to disconnect. So that's why I go with that. So I think it's going to start reversing. Joins up to the metaverse as well. People are going to want more human things. People are going to want more events. There's going to be like almost like a split between two different kinds of people. There's going to be the people who are like me, who are crazy tech people with
Mhm.
my AI glasses and all that stuff, they're operating, doing all these calculations. But if you think about truly human beings, no
Mhm.
matter how rich we get, no matter how poor a human being is, you look at the rich person, look at the poor person, the things that give them the greatest joy in their life are very similar.
Yeah. Simple.
Exactly. The thing is, the quote that
Experience.
says, God created every single person with a chance of happiness. Like wherever you are in life, you can be happy if you're a happy person.
But yes.
Ever you are, the things are still the same all the way through. So I think people are going to split into those two different factions. Now I travel between I'm extreme in both ends.
Yeah.
So
You don't want
I jump
yeah.
between the two. I'm never in the middle, but I think it's going to be more of a split. That's my prediction of metaverse. So there's people who are going to be full on into it. I wanted to do it. It's more of a cash thing. And I'm waiting for a product that's good enough because Apple's one was just crap. Meta, because I want to go, my goal is right now, we're almost there. I want to just travel with VR glasses on my phone. And if I put it on, I have all my screens. And if the phone is powerful enough to do all my work, like if the phone is powerful as a laptop, that's my dream setup. That way I can work anywhere very quickly.
Don't try asking for implants.
That's the thing. As I said, I'm extremes.
Yeah.
I would never put anything in my. How did it to get me to take medicine? I don't put stuff in my body. On it, I will put everything. Even contact lenses, I'm not doing that. Glasses, I'll do it. Yes, I'll put it. Listen, if you want me to put a full armor of like tech stuff, I will do it. But you tell me you're gonna put one small implant into like my finger? No.
No way, no way.
Because I don't trust it. It's inside me. Outside me, I can take it off.
So quick question now. What is your advice for those that are starting out? I know that Kugali Media is into so many different things. So somebody is starting out, what's their starting point? Because I don't even know whether it's a videography, it's a comic, it's a graphic design, because there's so many things you're like under the umbrella of.
I would say it's the same advice for everybody. For starting out anywhere, because the world is changing, nobody knows what the future is going to be. Now, everybody else, like us, for example, we already have some semblance of a career. So there's some chances we cannot take, or we also have responsibilities. Like I'm married now, so you have more responsibilities. Yeah. If you're starting out, take all the chances. You have nothing. You're starting at zero. Take all the chances. All that's going to happen is you're going to come back to zero.
Yeah. So take everything.
Do all the crazy things and work crazy hard. Don't care about anybody else. It's an open field. And the future is being built right now. And nobody has a key onto who is going to be building it. So it could be you.
How scary. So that's the advice. That's fantastic. If people want to reach out to you, where should they go?
I'll go with Kugali Media first.
Kugali.
Yes. Yeah. Kugali, then the word media, or Hamid Ibrahim portfolio would be for my own personal pages. That's when you get us. More social media would be that. And then LinkedIn, I'm just Hamid Ibrahim. And then you put Hamid Ibrahim Kugali, it should pop up very easily. A lot of Hamid Ibrahims out there. Yeah. One of the only arguments I have with quarrels I have for my parents, they gave me 2 generic names. There's so many Hamid Ibrahims out there.
There's a lot of Hamid Ibrahim.
Okay. Exactly. I wish I had some. I'll give an example. Lulu, my other co-founder, right? His other name is Akin, but the full name, right, is super long. It's extremely long. Yeah. I wish I had something like that, but it is what it is. I appreciate what I have right now. It's a good name still, to be fair. Yeah. But yeah, so just Hamid Ibrahim. You can find me in LinkedIn as well. I'll say the best places to message me will be on my Instagram page, just because it has the separations if you don't have my number. Obviously, if you have my number, do that. Okay. If you want to book something, easiest person is my assistant. If you're trying to book it and you think talking to me will be faster, I promise you it's going to be slower than my assistant.
Oh my God, I know how long it took for you to get back to me and understand. So quick one, what should people be looking out for from Kugali Media? That would be my last question.
Keep an eye on our page. We're going to be doing a few announcements. Obviously, we have the comics coming up, but in the animation side, the film side, and general business side, we are hoping to do one announcement before the year ends. Obviously, that's if the deal is completely closed, but there's something that's close to be closing. That if we close it by end of the year, we should be able to do a very good announcement. And just keep an eye out. As a company, I think if we just track what we've managed to do in the few years of being around, it's been a very extraordinary journey, and we'd hope all of you guys can just join us in the journey and see what more extraordinary things we can do.
Absolutely interested in joining you. Hamid, thank you so much for talking to me, and the audience would appreciate that as well. We look forward to seeing more of what Kugali is doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
Thank you. So that was Hamid Ibrahim of Kugali Media. And we talked about so many things. There's quite a lot to unpack there. So I would, if your background is in his industry or you want to learn more, then I would suggest that you go back and actually just listen to him and what he has to say, because he said so many things. But the key takeaway is, if you want to So being a creative, I'm a creative myself. My books are written by me, and I don't want my story to be generated by AI in any way, because then what does that make me as a creative? And I want to tell my own authentic story, which is a mix of growing up in Nigeria, in Lagos and other towns in Nigeria, and my experience of living in the UK. So a mix of that is my own experience that comes out in my stories. So I don't feel a machine can replicate that, and I don't even want a machine replicating that. And so I would not be getting AI to generate any story for me in any way, because that's my story to tell. And it might want to replicate me, but that's just about that. Using AI to using technology tools to for marketing, for assistance, for different things to amplify or to speed up your business and leave you more time to do other things. I'm very much in support of that. Talking Text, the creative podcast, is creating a Patreon. I've mentioned it before, but in the next few weeks before the end of the year, we're going to have a Patreon, and there will be a lot of information on amplifying or improving your business, whichever industry you're in, and using technology to speed up your work, leave you more time to do what you're really good at, because that's what it's going to come to. It's going to come to you, your domain knowledge, your knowledge that you have. If you're an expert in that area, then it's then for you to use the tools that are available to amplify that. But generating the same, you've heard what Amit said when he says 90% of what is going to come out of the internet will be generated products. Don't, I'm not interested in that. So even now, my habits of looking for information has changed. And I remember listening to someone recently who said, and I was going to actually ask Amit this, but we ran out of time. She said that people are still reading papers. They're still reading papers, so quality papers. But she said the way it's just the way it's being read, is the way it's being ingested. So people are not going out to buy physical papers, except if you're of a certain age generation. But people would consume media, digital media online. So for me, the way I consume news is from sources that I trust. And when I say I trust, I don't mean that I trust everything that comes from the media. It means trust. For example, if I hear that some certain things have happened, there's certain media that I'll go straight to verify. And that's what is going to happen in the future. People are not going to totally trust. People that know will not totally trust what is out there. They will go to verifiable sources to ensure that what they are reading is a fact. And I think that is the behavior that most people should follow, because there's going to be, we have fake news and fake everything now coming out, and it's not going to go down. It's not going to lessen. It's going to, it's going to continue, and it's going to get worse, where 90% of what is out there will be news that have not been verified. So you have to go to verifiable sources to ensure that the news is relatively to confirm what you've read or heard, or I will follow. For example, one of my habits is to actually I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I follow people that I believe in, so that I know that what is coming from them, like I'm following those sources, and I know that, and that's what people are doing now. So they're going to places like Substack, where a lot of people in the media, journalists who had lost their jobs or for one reason or that are no longer, they've gone to a platform like Substack, and people have followed those people. So now it's like almost like you're either following a brand, a medium that will tell you everybody's source of information is different. So maybe a medium that will tell you the news, or you're following somebody that you relatively trust. So that's what the future is going to be like. So anyway, I hope you got value from that. And I look forward to you. If you're watching on YouTube or you're listening, follow, subscribe, just support the podcast so that I can bring more authentic. So that's the idea. If I'm following people that are bringing authentic information, I hope you can support me and spread the words that there's someone that is treading I'm treading this gap between creativity and technology in different industries. So if you look at the past podcast interviews, you probably see something from your own industry, and then you can then watch that. So thank you so much for listening to me. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward. I've got more exciting guests lined up for the podcast. I'm enjoying doing this. And I'll hope you will sign up to the Patreon when the time comes, when it's ready. Thank you very much, and goodbye.